iilluminaughtii, a YouTuber who has been under a lot of fire over the past few months, has been accused of trying to silence creators who spoke out about her. Unfortunately, she isn't the only creator who seems to be doing this, but we will be talking about her and much more in this video. There's been a hearing involving the government confirming the existence of UFOs and possible extraterrestrial life. Somebody is potentially trying to silence me. A former surgeon slash TikTok star lost her medical license after receiving a lot of backlash. And there are also new updates with the iilluminaughtii situation and much more in today's video. There are so many topics that I want to discuss with you today, and I know that you are eager for me to talk about maybe one or two of these things. Trust me, you are going to want to listen to that and so much more that I have to share with you. If you are only interested in one topic that I have to share with you today, please check out the description where there are timestamps below, and you can go to that exact point of which I discuss that topic in the video. But I hope that you stick around for the full video because I love having you here. I would love to know what you think about everything we have to discuss today. With that being said, let's get on to the first topic. So I think the most interesting thing that I have found out about this week is the hearing on UFOs and alien life.
Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
I know this isn't my normal type of thing to talk about here, but I am genuinely fascinated by this. I love paranormal and extraterrestrial type of stuff. I don't always believe every single little thing I hear. I always come to my own conclusions and my own thoughts on things. But there is one saying that I like, and I believe Neil deGrasse Tyson said it. Believing that there are no other living beings out in the universe because we haven't seen them would be like believing there are no fish in the ocean because you took a cup and filled it up with water at the beach and didn't find any fish in it. Do I believe that there is other forms of life out there in the universe? Absolutely. I think it would be foolish not to believe that somewhere out there isn't any other type of life. When it comes to this particular case, so the person who was interviewed was David Grush, who was a former US Air Force officer and intelligence officer, and he claims that he was made aware of programs but wasn't directly involved. One really important thing I want to mention before we even listen to all of this is the fact that everything he says are just claims at this point. No evidence by any means was shown in these hearings, and while yes, he seems to be a pretty high-ranking official who also seems like he's been around for quite a while, so he does seem to have a lot on the line here by doing this hearing, but it still is important to know that right now, these are just claims. There has been no proof of anything he has been saying. That doesn't automatically mean he's lying by any means. That is not what I'm saying. It's just good to keep everything like that in mind. Not only did they describe the aircraft to be things that defy physics, but there were claims that there are non-human entities that were found.
I believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier. Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
As a result of your previous government work, have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself of non-human origin craft?
Yes, I personally interviewed those individuals.
Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? And if so, when do you think this first occurred?
I like to use the term non-human. I don't like to denote origin. Keeps the aperture open, both scientifically. Right. Certainly, like I've discussed publicly previously, 1930s.
Do you have any personal knowledge of someone who's possibly been injured working on legacy UAP reverse engineering?
Yes.
Okay. How were they injured? Is it something like a radioactive type situation or something we didn't understand?
You could imagine assessing an unknown unknown. There's a lot of potentialities you can't fully prepare for.
What strikes me as worse is the fact that nobody seems to care or is surprised anymore.
The US said that there's aliens and we literally don't care. We don't give a shit. Like, we as a species have caused so much nonsense that the idea of extraterrestrials just doesn't faze us. It doesn't faze us. It's just another Wednesday.
I think everybody feels on some level that we have just been through so much shit over the past few years that at this point, telling us the aliens are real, we're just like, okay, yeah, anyway, what did you have for breakfast today? Nobody cares at this point. We've been through too much to even be amazed by anything anymore. The other thing too is that most people are worried about everything in the world falling apart. This isn't something I've covered too much on my channel, and I don't know if I'll ever talk about it again, but I am highly interested in it. Let me know your thoughts on this type of stuff. Do you think aliens are real? Do you think there's other forms of life out there in the universe besides here on Earth? And do you think that this whole trial could have validity to it and that what they're saying is true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I found this to be extremely interesting, but at the same time, I totally understand that feeling of there's just too much going on for me to even bat an eye at this. I kind of feel that too. That's not what we usually cover on this channel though. So with that being said, let's get into some other topics. A couple of weeks ago, if not a couple of months ago at this point, time just does not exist for me anymore. I talked about a creator that went by the name of Tre Sellers. Tre Sellers was becoming very infamous for essentially making prank videos that involved harassing people and just being a menace to people in public, being really, really nasty to others, and hi Chester, you're such a good boy, yeah. Tre Sellers is one of those creators who does not care who they piss off as long as it gets them more attention. As a matter of fact, I believe he commented on my video talking about him, and that's the double-edged sword when talking about people like this. It's something that I find deeply disturbing and upsetting when I see a creator go out of their way to make other people's lives miserable, not just on social media, I mean in person. This man made a video where he allegedly tricked a homeless person into thinking he was getting them food and then ate the food in front of him, and then the backlash got so bad that he made another video talking about how he was in on the joke, but there were other people that commented on that video saying, no, we have gone to this location, and that person was not okay with what happened. So there is debate on whether or not that video was staged like Tre had claimed, and even if it was, it still seems like that person was exploited. And the thing is, when it comes to people like Tre, whether or not you talk about him, it really doesn't matter because he's still getting attention from it. This was just something that I found deeply, deeply upsetting, and I wanted to discuss it because my whole thing is talking about things that upset me, and that was one of them for the day. So ultimately, it seemed like he was getting his fill for getting more people to talk about him. Clout is one hell of a drug towards people like this who do not care what it is they do as long as they get the attention for it. But it seems like things have caught up with Tre because apparently he has been arrested for one of his pranks that he loves to pull on people. We are aware of several recent disturbing social media posts that have been made by Tre Sellers of Sacramento. These posts include threatening videos that were made at a fast food restaurant and at the Upland Animal Shelter, among others. This evening, officers located and arrested Sellers for criminal threats. This investigation is ongoing, and any other victims of Sellers are encouraged to contact the Upland Police Department.
Yo, excuse me, guys. I'm trying to get something to eat. Do you think you might be spare change by any chance?
You want to stop real quick? I could get you a $5 meal.
If you could, it'd be a blessing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
He goes up to two people and wants money or food, and they are kind enough to go and get him a meal, and he eats the meal, and then he comes back and he says this.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me that food. I want to give you this rock. Now, if you didn't give me any money to get food, I would have bashed that rock. But I want to say life's about choices. And you made a valuable choice and the correct choice. You decided to spare money for that meal, and I decided to spare your lives.
What are you talking about, bro? Spare my
You
life
guys
for
are
what?
super sweet.
Are you serious? Bro, get your down.
You guys are really sweet, you know?
Don't
I
talk to me like
appreciate that.
How dare you, bro?
Thank you.
Don't
But you're
get a
lucky.
kind gesture to buy
Yeah.
you something, and that's what you want.
I don't like to say this too often, but in this case, I genuinely think that this person is a pure piece of shit. And consequences have occurred in this situation. As of right now, we have yet to see what is going to happen, if he will actually receive any time for this. And it seems like after this situation especially, his accounts have been repetitively banned on several different forms of social media, but he just keeps popping back up. Hopefully all of this kind of ceases and it makes sort of an example to say this type of shouldn't happen online. You shouldn't be going up to strangers and treating them this way. It's humiliating for strangers that you're doing this to, especially people who are in vulnerable situations, but it's also just disturbing people in general. You are being a disturbance to the public, and this is something that shouldn't be allowed. Apparently, he's not the only one who has done this. I haven't covered this other YouTuber. There was another person who actually went into somebody's house as a prank. Now, this wasn't in the United States, because if it was, this could have ended a lot worse, but this person, and I assume a few friends, went into somebody else's house, kicked their feet up onto their furniture, and just scared the hell out of them. This type of content just needs to stop. It's one thing to be a prankster if you're going to fake content, and people can say whether or not that's ethical. I think it's at least slightly more ethical than actually doing this type of stuff and disturbing the public. I genuinely hope consequences are put in place for this situation and for Tre Sellers, because this should not continue. I mentioned recently somebody was trying to send me false copyright claims, but they were trying to get my video taken down falsely, and they had attempted it so many times apparently that YouTube denied them, and then finally I guess it had gone through and YouTube had sent me the list of times that this person had tried to negotiate with YouTube to get my video taken down. It got to a point where I said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna take the video down myself, even though that everything said in that video was under fair use, number one, and number two, things that I mentioned in that video were things that this guy had admitted to, and number three, this guy had already lost a lawsuit for something very similar. He's still trying to go. He's still trying to continue. This person's Romeo Lacoste, and apparently I'm not the only person he had done this to. Romeo Lacoste actually lost a lawsuit to Keemstar, and now he is trying to get everybody's videos taken down that have criticized him for being a creep. I'm not going to show the full thing because I don't know how much of this I actually can. Probably all of it, but I just want to be on the safe side. But there's one point when he is describing everything and he claims that it's forbidden for anyone to show his face or his tattoos in videos of theirs. He also claims that the videos I took from him were videos he made in 2021, which would be physically impossible since I made my video in 2020. I implore you to remove all videos. I tried to reach the owners of the video, but they always told me they can remove it for money. Please remove all videos. First of all, everything I just read out loud was a straight up lie. As far as I'm aware from checking my emails, I have never received any type of email from Romeo Lacoste. I have never had any direct contact with him at the time of recording this video, at least, which obviously means I have never responded to any type of request that he's directly made to me, since such request never existed, other than him trying to contact YouTube and them repetitively denying him. With that being said, I have never said that I would remove my video on him for money. So not only did he lie, but that is so insulting to me, my channel, and my integrity as a creator, because my response to somebody asking me to take a video down would never be, okay, I will if you give me money. Especially if that creator was accused of doing very disgusting and creepy things. What I find the most disgusting about this is the fact that while all of this is happening, not only is he posting interesting photos on Twitter, but when searching his name to see if anybody else has gone through this, which I have found out that others have, I also came across tweets like this that state, does anyone on here remember Romeo Lacoste? Tell me why he just randomly followed me on here when I haven't followed or supported him for years. Unfortunately, I cannot confirm or deny if Romeo Lacoste is following this person, because when looking on their account, it didn't seem like he was following them, but it also didn't seem like all of their followers were loading, and alternatively, looking on his account to see who he was following, which is over 30,000 people, it did the same thing where after scrolling just a little bit, it would wouldn't load anymore. So yeah, I cannot confirm for 100% that he did actually follow this person, but he does seem to be following quite a lot of people, and he also seems to be pretending that nothing had happened, which is really scary considering the fact that there might be people out there who do not know about Romeo Lacoste, which as of right now in this video, I am not going to go into the details of, and also I'm not even showing his face in any part of this video because I do not want him to try and take this video down as well. I just want to share my frustrations about this and my concern. I'm genuinely convinced that this person is just trying to reignite their brand on social media. If you look Romeo Lacoste up on things like TikTok, there isn't a lot of information other than his own TikTok videos. He's constantly posting on Instagram after not posting for a while. I think he's genuinely trying to make a comeback and is trying to silence anybody else who has ever talked about him. My video wasn't slanderous, did not infringe any copyright, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit here and talk about my frustrations with that. And I already knew in my head that he had to be mass flagging or mass attempting to flag other people's YouTube videos. When you try to take down a person's video, you have to put like, oh, this person did that. The guy wrote, he did this, and he said slanderous things. I'm a girl. Like, I mean, I hope that that's obvious. To me, it seems like he just copy-pasted this to like a bunch of other things. I could be wrong. Maybe for some reason he thought I was a guy. I'm sorry. It's just like, you're trying really hard to make this a case for yourself and you can't even get simple things right. I just wanted to let you know about that because I think this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm becoming so frustrated over people thinking that they can walk all over my channel. And if you don't know about the things Romeo Lacoste has done, I'll link a few videos in my description so you can catch up on it and really get a good idea of why this is such a big deal. I'm not going to be walked all over by some creep that thinks he's going to be able to get away with everything, so why you could do the same thing again? Absolutely the fuck not. Nope, no thank you, sir. I told you that I was not going to talk about the Illuminati situation again until there was a lot more information, and I have been waiting to see what more could come out about this situation. Like, will she eventually respond? Will this escalate further? But something happened that I was not expecting that I really want to touch base on. The last time we talked about Illuminati, I briefly mentioned her in an update when it involved a YouTuber named Wonderstruck. If you haven't seen my previous 2 videos on the situation, I recommend you go check them out before continuing to watch this. Basically what had happened was a lot of people have come out against Illuminaughtii after she had gotten in some drama with a creator named Legal Eagle for accusing him of plagiarizing, and one of these creators that had come out against Illuminaughtii was a creator named Wonderstruck, and he shared his story, and it was really upsetting to hear him talk about a lot of this stuff, and it was really sickening to see how much Blair was trying to twist things into making him look like a bad person when he wasn't. And over the past few months, with all of this stuff coming out, we could really see what kind of a vindictive and malicious person she really is. And the last update I gave you was that after Wonderstruck had spoken out against her, she sent him a cease and desist. Shortly after that, she had allegedly sent other people cease and desists. She's essentially trying to scare the world into not talking about her. She has been making vague threats towards creators that, you know, she's gonna try and sue people, and it's really not looking good in her situation at all. This entire situation is just getting worse and worse for her, and every time she tries to retaliate, it just shows how much more vindictive she is than we originally thought. But there's one person who had come out with a video recently that I really was not expecting it, and this person is Cruel World Happy Mind. And the reason why I say I wasn't expecting it is because I really didn't think she owed anybody any explanation. Really, anybody involved in this situation didn't have to do this. They didn't owe anybody anything. But when it came to Cruel World Happy Mind, she was one of the people that Illuminaughtii treated really terribly, that I completely understood if she never wanted to talk about the situation. And I feel like she didn't owe it to anybody to talk about it. But she actually did recently make a video, not only just talking about her experience, but the entire situation in general. And I really feel deeply for what she had explained in her video. One of the worst things is the fact that that Cruel World Happy Mind was pregnant at the time that iilluminaughtii had tried to maliciously attack her. And I'm not going to show you a bunch of clips from her video. Instead, I'm going to link her video down in the description below so you can watch it yourself. But there are a lot of things that Cruel World Happy Mind has said. She was not only dealing with a pregnancy, but she was dealing with a pretty rough pregnancy where she was feeling very sickly. So going through this and adding stress to that, I'm sure didn't help at all. And the worst thing is, as she pointed out, Blair knew she was pregnant. It wasn't even just a matter of she publicly mentioned it. There was at one point when they messaged each other where she said she was pregnant in that message, and Blair still did a lot of really nasty, heinous shit. But even if Cruel World Happy Mind wasn't pregnant, the things that iilluminaughtii had done were so malicious and vindictive and just so manipulative. I feel really, really bad for her. I'm sorry for saying that so much. There's actually a few things that Cruel World had said in her video that I deeply empathize with from unrelated experiences. It just really, really sucks to see somebody being this nasty. I think Cruel World Happy Mind is a really great creator. She comes off as a genuinely kind and nice person. I hope that she is able to heal from all of this, and I hope that everybody else directly involved in this situation is able to heal from this as well. This really seems like a person who is just malicious and vindictive and tries to step on everybody that she can to get to the top. When I first talked about this, I mentioned how I don't think it's really fair to anybody involved to compare her to Creepshow art, but there are points when I can get why people have made that comparison, and I especially see that now more than maybe when I made that first video. I still don't think they're exactly the same. I think they're both awful in their own different ways, but I understand a little bit more why people made that assumption. The last thing I want to talk about today is another TikToker who we have talked about quite a while ago. You may or may not remember me discussing a doctor, a surgeon who would make TikTok videos and do live streams while doing plastic surgery. This TikToker was known as Dr. Roxy, and she had gotten a lot of backlash in the last video I talked about, and I think she also lost her position or her practice at the time I had made that video. Well, now on top of that, she has lost her medical license. She officially cannot perform any type of surgeries on people, and this is after not only doing live streams while performing surgery, paying more attention to the live stream, but also botching a lot of surgeries on multiple different people and telling people not to go to the hospital if they feel any complications from the surgeries afterwards. And some people have received damages from these surgeries that are irreparable, or if they are repairable, they have to have multiple surgeries to try and fix the damage that was done. Personally, I agree with this outcome, and I think she does deserve to lose her license over this, especially after seeing the way she prioritized her TikTok lives and her online presence over her patients' safety and well-being. I doubt that this is even the end of the road for the consequences she's about to receive for this. I wouldn't be surprised if lawsuits start to happen towards her for malpractice, especially from patients who have had the botched surgeries. As of right now, I haven't seen anything regarding anything like that, and I don't know for sure that that will ever actually happen. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if it did. With that being said, let me know your thoughts on this situation below, as well as everything else that we have talked about today in this video. Thank you so much if you've made it all the way to the end of this video. I was originally going to split this up into 2 mashup videos, but I think I just wanted to make one long mashup video for you instead. I really, really appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end, and if you watched every single topic that we had to discuss. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below. With that being said, I have a whole lot more to talk about in future uploads. There's a whole list at this point, but I wanted to get through some of the most important things that have recently occurred just all in one video, because so much has happened in such a short amount of time. So again, thank you so much, and thank you so much to all of my supporters on Patreon, and to anybody who has given me a super thanks. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.